Tēnā koutou katoa. I'm going to introduce myself using Te Reo Māori because it is honouring Te Tiriti o Waitangi, the foundation document that actually supports how we should be living in this country. But unfortunately, as many of you might know, that treaty has also been dishonoured for hundreds of years. My heart goes out to you. I've got a speech here, but I feel your hurt. And I'm sorry. We actually need you, and I'm going to speak to that. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko kotorana te whakapaparanga mai, ko opotiki te whenua tupu, ko otipoti te kāinga. E tōpatanga tōpuhi kaitiaki o Aotearoa aho I mahi ana. Ko Anne Daniels tōku ingoa. Tēnā tātou katoa. So what I said there is that my family came to New Zealand from Scotland. We were also migrants. We understand what it is to actually find yourself in a position to actually leave your country, your home, your families, and go to another country where you know no one, you have little support, and you don't know what's coming. I was born in Opotiki in the Bay of Plenty, which is on the coast of this island, but now I live in Dunedin. My job as president of the New Zealand Nurses Organisation is an elected one. So I am here on a short term. The election year is this year. I'm not supposed to be electioneering, but we need to make sure that whoever stands in this place actually stands with you and behind you and makes sure that your voices are heard. I want to thank Saju. Saju and I still don't know each other, but we talk a lot about politics and we talk about the things that are important to him and to the community that stands here before me today. I have heard some horrific stories. I've also heard of the exploitation. One of the first experiences I had of an IQN was a nurse that I met at a women's conference in Wellington. She had been in New Zealand for 3 years. She worked in an aged care hospice or hospital. She had not seen her husband for all of that time. She had spent over $25,000 trying to deal with all the immigration rules that kept changing to actually bring her husband out. And in the end, she had to go back to India, live with him for 6 months, produce documentation to say that they were married before he could come here. He is now in New Zealand. Trying to actually understand the incredible commitment, the courage that goes behind those decisions and the work that you do to actually come and live in our country needs to be honoured, but it also needs to be told. Migrant nurses or international qualified nurses are the backbone of our health system. Let it be very, very clear. You are 45% of our registered nurses in this country. You are a very, very big part of our New Zealand Nurses Organisation Union. Without you, the whole health system would topple. Why am I saying this? It's because you have power. You actually have power. And I'm here because I know that and I want to see it in action. I work with many international qualified nurses in Dunedin Hospital ED when I'm not working as the president. The nurses that I work with always have a smile. No matter what's going on, they give of themselves to those around them, and their care is exemplary. I would trust them with my life. They are amazing. So, I have to acknowledge the sacrifices you have made, the costs you have accounted, the challenges that you have overcome to come and work here. I have heard about the exploitation. I have heard about people, your own people, and New Zealanders taking money from you and then giving you no work, no life, and very little hope. But I've got hope. You're standing here today for the first time, I understand, doing something that you would not ordinarily do. And I also understand that this has been organised by the Kerala Palmerston North Association and that there are other associations around this country. It's my intention to visit them all because I want to help give you hope. You need to understand your own power. We cannot do it for you. The government won't do it for you. The employers won't do it for you. You have to do it for yourselves. It shouldn't be like this. We absolutely need nurses. We need you. You have come out here because you've been told about the thousands of vacancies that are in New Zealand, in the hospitals, in aged care and in primary health care. Right now, the current government is pulling all those jobs off the job sites. I went on to the Te Whatu Ora job site 2 days ago. There were 117 jobs. 2 of them were for nurses. All the rest were for managers who sit in their ivory towers and don't know what is going on. They don't know the realities and the suffering that you are experiencing, nor for that matter, Maori, Pacifica and New Zealand nurses. They have no idea. The recent decisions made by this government to cut back on nurse and doctors' jobs on the front line is and will be catastrophic for you, our patients, and in the hospitals, primary health and aged care. If nurses and doctors are not there, healthcare will not be provided. The negative human cost for both patients and healthcare professionals will climb, all to save money. But we all know that these policies will not save lives. Only we can do that, the nurses, if we are there. This all sounds like bad news, but in actual fact, I have been a union delegate for a long time, over 40 years, and I'm not going to tell you my age. I am younger than I look. I'm telling you this because in my experience, when there's a problem, there's always a solution. In fact, nurses are extremely well known for taking a problem and turning it into something positive. There's always a silver lining. I know this, I've seen it. But only if you stand up and start acting collectively. So I want you to think about the problems. I want you to think about the solutions. You've talked about the visas, the visitor visas. We need to go back to the government and say, this process is not working. You need to put your demands down in writing and say what you need. You need to act collectively right round the country. You need to use your power to actually make this happen. And I know it's going to happen. Within the New Zealand Nurses Organisation, we've got a small group of healthcare assistants who for several years have been jumping up and down saying to the board of NZNO, what about us? We should have a voice. There are thousands and thousands of us in this country, but we are not in a section, we're not in a college, we don't have a voice. So you know what they did? They hijacked the president, the Kai Whakahaere, and the CEO, Paul Golter, at breakfast at the morning of the last annual general meeting and sat us down, told us the problems and told us the solutions, told us what they wanted. And what's happening right now? What they wanted is in process. They have got a national committee. They are talking to the Nursing Council and the government. They are making things happen. This has to happen for you. A few years ago, I know that Menina Hernandez, who was on the board of the New Zealand Nurses Organisation, tried to get a voice for IQNs to happen within the organisation, and it didn't happen. The problem is that she went through the proper channels. I am a person who sees that the proper channels, when they don't work, you need to find a different way around them. And I'm very good at skipping around the barriers that are there. I see them on your posters. If New Zealand Nurses Organisation processes are a barrier, go round them. Find a way where you will get action, where you will get transparency and accountability. And you need to do that because you are the union. We have got 120 staff in the New Zealand Nurses Organisation. The staff are not the union. They work with you and for you. You are the union. You have the power. And don't feel you're on your own, because New Zealand nurses like me work with you on the floor if you are working. We know how incredibly amazing you are. And we will stand beside you and walk with you on this journey. But we need to hear your voice. And this is the problem. My hat goes off to the nurse that was just speaking about her journey. This is the kind of thing that we actually need. I need to hear your stories. NZNO needs to hear your stories. The government needs to hear your stories. We need to actually identify those problems that are behind all of this and fix them. NZNO is all about fixing things. We are a union, and that's what we do. So use us, join us, and use the might of your many. I think it must be something like 30,000 IQNs in this country as part of our union. Use that might and make things happen. Don't feel alone, and don't be afraid. New Zealand, I know it's been tough, but New Zealand is not a place where we will accept exploitation or slavery. And I know that many IQNs are in a position where they feel that they cannot leave their place of work when they do have work. This is just not okay. The only way we can fix that is to actually take that horribleness out from underneath its rock and show it to the world. New Zealanders don't like people like you or anyone being hurt. You have to trust in yourselves. You also have to trust that when I say we are with you, we are. But you need to actually tell us. We need the evidence. We need to know what we can do to help. Don't give up. Please stay. We need you. And I know that the few thousand jobs that you were told about is just a drop in the bucket. And I'll tell you why. We're about to launch a strategy called nurse-patient ratio legislation. What does that mean? We haven't got enough nurses in the hospital's aged care and in primary health care. We know this. The care that we're giving is not good enough. Overseas, they have legislated how many nurses we need for the patients that are in their care, depending on how sick they are, etc. Okay, so if we get that legislated, it means that both the government and the nurse employers have to employ the nurses that we need, because if they don't, they will be punished. They will be penalised, generally by money. This is happening in Australia, Canada, America, and in Ireland. And we're going to do it here too. So there will be jobs. But you need to be part of this. You need to stand up with us so that we can make that happen. and then you will be guaranteed those jobs. If anybody wants to talk to me at any time, Sarju knows how to contact me, but I am here and I will stand and listen to your stories. Please come and see me. I just want to say thank you for your bravery, your courage, and your amazing care of each other and of us, the New Zealanders you take care of in the hospitals, in the communities, and our elderly and aged care. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne Daniels, for understanding our feelings. Thank you for standing for us. Now I invite Anita, internationally qualified nurse, a CAP student, to share her story.